In this video, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite AI tools called NeuronWriter. It's an SEO optimization tool, but we're going to be answering some pretty specific questions. Number one, is NeuronWriter's lifetime deal finally expiring from AppSumo? It's been there a long time. I got an interesting email that I want to show you, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Next up, is NeuronWriter easy to use? Because as great as this tool might be, at the end of the day, is it really easy to use and is it effective? And that's what the next question we're going to be covering is, how good is NeuronWriter really? I have an interesting case study that I have been using with an individual page on one of my niche sites. Got a couple of screenshots for you that I want to show on how the site has performed after I ran it through NeuronWriter. And then finally, do I recommend NeuronWriter to use for you and your content creation? So let's go ahead and jump into the first thing. So first of all, I get this email from AppSumo and it says, leaving soon, NeuronWriter. It's got 4 days, 12 hours. You got the classic countdown that you get into your email. And this is an entire dedicated email just for NeuronWriter. And typically, you have to be careful with a lot of these lifetime deals that show up on AppSumo. Let me go ahead and pull up the page. They say that they're going away, but then sometimes they end up coming back, or they'll come back at a much more expensive price or something like that. So I'm going to be honest, I can't guarantee you that NeuronWriter will never be back on AppSumo, but let me tell you a couple of things that I can tell you regarding it. NeuronWriter has been hugely successful with AppSumo. And you have to remember what the purpose of AppSumo is. It's to get the masses to know about your software as a service, your product. Once that product has been known by a lot of people, they've collected as much lifetime deal money as they possibly can. Now they have seed money to start pursuing getting the monthly subscription for their services up and running. And then that's when really, a nice online service, a SaaS, can really start taking off in terms of a business. NeuronWriter has been on AppSumo for quite a while, but I can tell you right now, they are saying that the offer is expiring in 5 days. I believe them. I think that NeuronWriter is going to be done because they are just a bigger service. So let me just give you an example of another company that did something very, very similar, Phrase.io. Phrase was on AppSumo for a few, 2 or 3 months, maybe about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. Now, if you try to get a lifetime deal with Phrase, it's just not possible. I've even reached out to Phrase, the guy, his name's Matt. I reached out to him and say, hey, I will pay you a ridiculous amount of money for a lifetime deal of this service. He's like, sorry, we're not doing it anymore. So I just want to let you know that these types of services, they will go away from AppSumo. So will they go away? I'm going to say that they are, but again, just to put a little caveat on that, we never really know. Now, because AppSumo has been hugely successful with, NeuronWriter has been hugely successful with AppSumo, I don't think that they're going to be sticking around much longer. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at how NeuronWriter works. By the way, I'll be sure to put a link down in the description so that you can go check NeuronWriter out if you haven't purchased it already. I've had a lot of people who follow this channel already go and buy NeuronWriter, and they are extremely happy with it. And I can show you right here, actually. You see here, NeuronWriter has 457 reviews, and it looks like to be 5 complete tacos, Like, that's 5 out of 5. That's pretty epic. That doesn't happen that very, very often on AppSumo. If a service even has a little bit of issues going in, typically you might have half a taco here. You might even only have 1 or 2 tacos, depending on how good it is. But let's go ahead and jump to a few of the reviews. I even have a review on here somewhere, I believe. You're going to click on reviews, 457 of them. Recommend the application. Now part of my daily experience. If you're a blogger, this is going to be the video for you. And to try to figure out how to get SEO optimized using natural language processing from Google so that you can, rank these articles as fast as you can. Need content? Get this. Helps improve SEO ranking. Impressively packed tool. This is a great tool. All 5 tacos. Let's go ahead and jump into what you're going to get with AppSumo. So as we dive down here, it's basically a thing best for bloggers, copywriters. I'm going to say mainly for bloggers, even though it has some other services. It's a good alternative to Phrase and Surfer SEO. This is exactly what NeuronWriter is. It's just like these tools. I really believe it's going to take off and be just as big as these Phrase and Surfer SEO. I am still partial to Phrase. I love that service, but the lifetime deals just aren't going to happen anymore with Phrase. So if you're going to use Phrase, you're going to use Surfer SEO, you're going to have to pay a monthly fee. I can tell you NeuronWriter is that service that's going to be taking over that you need to take advantage of before the time period expired. You see right here, 4 days and 12 hours. Let's jump to what you're going to get with the tools. All right, so you get a lifetime access to NeuronWriter. You can stack codes with this. So you have the 1 code all the way up to 5. I believe I have the gold plan. So I have 3 codes, but you can go up to 4 or 5 if you need. It's a little bit of overkill depending on how often you're going to be creating content. But let's go ahead and jump in. Let's see, AI content writing, internal linking, competitor SERP analysis, NLP. This is that natural language processing that Google uses to try to figure out what an article is about. You can use that with NeuronWriter and be able to get your articles to rank really well, as well as content planning. This is something new that they just added within their last iteration of this product, and it's awesome. Like, it does a very good job. You can do a lot of your work in this one place of NeuronWriter. So a single license is going to give you 2 projects. A project is basically a website. So you can have 2 websites up and running going on your NeuronWriter account. The cool thing is you can add and remove projects. The only thing is you will lose all of the articles that you have optimized from that particular project. So, depending on your workflow, that might be able to work for you. It's not like it makes a big difference as to if you have multiple articles under one space versus just one, like if you have multiple websites that you're running. But I particularly have I have 3 stacks for this particular one. 25 content analysis queries, meaning that you can optimize up to 25 articles per month. And usually for, a small solopreneur who's a blogger, 25 might be enough if you're doing a lot of the content creation yourself. They do have AI, so there is artificial intelligence. It's all based on the GPT-3, so it's, essentially the same as a lot of these other AI tools that are out there. But, you will have to look at it and determine if it's something that you'd like to do. But $15,000 per month is not bad. Now here's where there's a big difference, and that's going to be the sharing level in this single tier. So the sharing level means you can only send it to one writer and then they can just look at it. That's it. They can't do anything else with it. Maybe you can coach them to copy it and write it here and then send it to you or something. But, it's not the smoothest thing in the world. The 3 stacks at least are going to give you create, edit, and read access, meaning that you can share individual articles with your writers or with anyone that you might be working with so that they can continue and finish and use the service themselves. And for a fact that you're getting back an SEO optimized article using NeuronWriter. They even have internal linking suggestions. I actually haven't used that part very often. And then you also get with the double or the multiple, you get a schema data explorer. So it'll actually also look at the same web pages on Google when it's trying to figure out what to include in your article, and then tell you what they are also including within their schema, which is actually a pretty big deal in my opinion, because schema is a big thing that a lot of people, especially newer bloggers, don't really know what's going on with. And it's kind of an advanced thing, but it does help when you do learn how to use it. And then with the multiple one, you do get a Google Search Console integration, which is helpful, but I don't think it's 100% required, but it does help you kind of keep everything in one place. And then you get 75 plagiarism checker credits each and every month. So if you are writing content or you have writers writing content, you can throw it through this plagiarism checker, especially if you are using any type of AI tools to create your content. This is a big deal to be able to run 75 articles per month to check for the plagiarism stuff. You can stack more codes up to like 5, but I don't know how many people are going to need 150 content analysis every single month unless you are really running at scale. But it's a good deal. I mean, I definitely like it, but let's go ahead and jump into what NeuronWriter normally costs, right? So this is the home page. Let's click on pricing. So if you were to get NeuronWriter, that gold plan, this is the 3-stack plan, then you get 75 analysis. It's going to be $60 a month. This has actually gone up. This wasn't $57. It used to be a little cheaper than that in the past. So usually when prices are going up with different types of these tools, it's because they're becoming more popular and they can start demanding more money, so I would definitely recommend at least getting the 2, perhaps the 3 tier on NeuronWriter. That would be at least 3 codes. So let's now jump into NeuronWriter and try to figure out. Now let's go ahead and jump into NeuronWriter and just see exactly how easy it is to use NeuronWriter, because if you've used any of the other services like Phrase or Surfer SEO, you probably are used to a certain standard with how these things come about, but it's not too bad at all. You can literally, this is what you have on the front page. You click on create new project, you type in your website and click next. And that's basically it. Then you can now start putting in some keywords to try to start ranking for some stuff. So just for an example here, Blogger Evolution. I don't keep most of mine here when I record a video because I kind of just add them and subtract them because I don't want anyone to know my niche sites. But hey, that is what it is. But I don't mind anyone going to bloggerevolution.com. Be sure to go check that website out. It is amazing with helping you grow your own niche sites. Anyway, back to this. So you can take any of these contents and once you've done the keyword research, you found a keyword that you would like to rank for, all you need to do is click on new query and punch it in. So I could say something like, how many beers does it take to get drunk? All right. All right. Let's go ahead and click start. And what it's going to do, you can see here, is at 1% or at 0%, and it's going to be improving over time. You see it's already at 10%. And then once that's done, it literally doesn't take very long at all. What it's doing in this time period is it's going to Google. It's Googling this phrase, and then it's looking at every single result up to like 30 that's popping up for that phrase, and then trying to figure out what words are being used most often, what topics are being used most often in each one of those articles. And then you can now take that information and put it together in one cool blog post so that you can have the top of the top. So basically everyone's doing the work for you and you're coming in and kind of scraping off the top. All right. This is great for on-page SEO. It's not going to work for every term in the world because you will probably need to get some backlinks or something like that if you really want it to work well. But for some low competition stuff, it really gives you what you need to know to get started. So it looks like it's done right here. So I'm going to click on the query, and just from here, it immediately shows me 30 results of exactly what's ranking for this particular keyword. You can confirm this by just going over to Google and Googling the phrase yourself. It gives you the title of the article and then as well as the URL. So you can literally click on an article and it'll bring you right to that article so that you can go ahead and check it out pretty quickly. So that's pretty good. I do like the ease of use of that, but let's look at some of this more pertinent information over here. So it gives you the rank, it gives you the content score, and then it gives you the length of the words, the length of the content itself, with as in how many words. So the content score is basically looking at all of the articles on that page and what it was able to extrapolate or take out of those articles to tell you what you need to put in an article to rank. It's now comparing itself to how these articles compare to what it believes it needs in order to rank. So you can see here 68, 50, 37, 49, 62, 62. So, and you see it kind of goes down from there, right? So basically, this first article is optimized decently well. It's got a green, it's around 70, it's about 2,000 words, but this will give us an idea of about what we would need to do if we really wanted to rank for this keyword. So if you look at number 3, we can see here it's only 37, and then number 5 is 7, 49. And actually, the second one's only 50. It's not too bad. And then the words for this is around 1,500 to 2,000. So this will tell me I probably need to write about a 27 or so 100-word post, maybe 3,000, depending on how bad you really want to rank for this particular keyword term. And some of these articles that are ranking, they are ripe for the picking, in my opinion. So we have a couple here that you can see that they're kind of doing the exact same thing. Now, I'm not saying this is a good keyword to go after. However, you can see that they're around 62 and they're about 3,000 words. So over time, they'll probably end up kind of outranking, based on what they've done and using, tools like this to be able to rank on Google. So once we are on this page, we can then choose what articles we would like NeuronWriter to check against so that we can know what's being written. So for example, I'm probably not going to include these down here because they just aren't optimized very well, but these that are optimized like here, 62, 62, 56, I'm going to keep those. This one is optimized as 7. It's a Quora ranking. So I'm not really going to do anything with, user generated content, but it looks like I'm going to keep everything else. Once I've done that, I can click on next, and it'll now look at those particular articles that we just looked at, and then it's going to give me a score on what we need to do and a couple of suggestions using AI on how we can get these articles to rank. All right, so here is our dashboard for where we can now start creating our content, and it gives us a lot of information here that's pretty helpful. So number one, remember we had 68 was the top competitor result. So this basically tells us what we need to shoot for with this particular article. Right here, it gives us a suggested word count of what we are probably going to need. It says 2,078 words is in the top 10. It's the average. So we would need to shoot for something a little bit more than that. I like to add around 10, 15, maybe even 20% more words to an article when I'm doing something competitive like this, trying to get in front of the right people. So we have a score here. The readability score is 100 right now, but that's because there's nothing there. But as we put stuff in, it'll help us with our readability. This is kind of like running your website through Grammarly or something to make it more readable. It makes a huge difference. I will say running an article through Grammarly will make it rank higher. It's just because it's just better written content, right? So how does this work? So what we would normally do is we would start writing our content here. So you can also import content from another website, or if you already have content that's created and you want to import it, you can import that particular article and it'll drop it right over here. And then from here, we can then go through and try to figure out what we'd like to add into our article. So as you're writing the content, all you need to do over on the right hand side is include these words in your article. Now, you can't just do it just to do it. You have to make sure that these words make sense for what you're doing. You can't just insert it because this is just a tool, right? So if I put in this one right here, get intoxicated, right? So I can put in get intoxicated, and after a second, this should turn green. If I spelled intoxicated right, and there we go, it turned green, right? So that means that we've included this term in the article. But we need to go further than that. We need to actually write the actual article and then include these words as we go in. And then as you include stuff, then your content score is going to increase. Over here at the right, these are the words that we would like to include in the article itself. But we can also click here and it'll tell us what we need to put into our H1 tag, or the actual title of the article, and then any H2s that are being used pretty often. So how many beers to get drunk, get you drunk, take to get drunk, number of beers, calculate the number of beers, determine how many, yada, yada, yada. So these would be possible subheadings within our article that we might want to include so that we can have the best shot at ranking for this article. So we would just run through and just write the article and include all of this information. Now, there are other things that this tool can do that's pretty awesome. We can click on the ideas tab, and then there's questions to answer, and we can click here and it'll give us all of the people also ask that's within that particular search phrase, which is super duper helpful, especially when coming up with other article ideas. And then here are questions that are within the paragraphs of the articles that we were looking at as well. And we can just see, okay, what types of things do we want to include in our article to make the best content, period. Then we can look at the H1s, the H2s, and the H3s as well. Now, if we're looking for something a little bit different, maybe something that's not on Google search yet, we can now click on YouTube and then click Get YouTube Ideas. It's going to search for that particular phrase and then give us a lot of these videos that are now ranking in Google for these particular set of keywords. So because of that, we can now take these and watch these videos and maybe get some inspiration on how we can include this content into our content as well, and to make just the best article that we possibly can for our readers. And that's really what the whole idea is, to make the best content possible, not by depending on these tools like NeuronWriter, but using these tools to help us make the best content that's out there, because usually over the course of time, the cream is going to rise to the top. Now, I know I didn't go into great detail and with actually writing an article, but that's because I already have a ton of videos on that already. So just to show you how to get here, just in case, if you are on the, if you go to my homepage and you can click on this search tab right there and you can type in NeuronWriter, press enter. It's going to give you all of the articles that I have at least talked about NeuronWriter, or I have 3 of them right here. So, so go ahead and check those out so that you can see exactly how NeuronWriter works and how to use it for a specific creation of an article. So now I wanted to show you a couple of things that we did with NeuronWriter and how it was able to help our performance for a particular article. So here's an article that we wrote. It's been in existence for a long time, and I use NeuronWriter to help further optimize the article. So you can see here, it was doing, going up and down with getting clicks and everything, nothing really to write home about. And you see it kind of hit rock bottom here towards the end of November. And, that's probably, because of Thanksgiving, I would guess, or whatever. But, it was still trying. And then I went ahead and optimized the article probably early December. And this is in a part of the down niche, by the way, because there's some seasonality with this website. So usually around November, December, articles are starting to kind of tank a little bit. And then they start to kind of pick up probably late February, early March. But as you can see right here, impressions for this has started to skyrocket. And it's all because of the optimizations I believe I made here in early December. And can't do much better than that. We're getting an average position of about 3, average CTR of 17.3. So using the NeuronWriter to come up with the headers and to come up with the title of the article and the H2s is really helping with the click-through rate with this particular article as well. I mean, a 17% click-through rate, that's amazing. That is outstanding, and I'll go ahead and take that every single day. So this right here is proof that NeuronWriter works, and I would definitely recommend it. So I guess that's the kind of spoiler alert for our next thing is, do I recommend NeuronWriter? And I will say with 100% certainty, yes, I definitely recommend NeuronWriter. It is a, phrase and Surfer SEO in itself. I think Phrase is around $50 a month. Surfer SEO, I think it's around $40 a month or whatever. These are some, pricey tools, especially if you're just getting started with your blog, with SEO. Another $50 or $60 to come out of your pocket every single month on top of the work and on top of the other things. It might kind of, set you off, because like, man, I got to spend more money. But if you can take advantage and just spend, $69 one time, or if you're able to stack the codes, spend $200 one time, you saw from the front page here, $57 monthly for this gold plan. So if you were to sign up with NeuronWriter and get the 3 codes, let me change this back to the 3 codes, 'cause that's the one that I have, $200. That means you're just paying forward, maybe 3 months, 4 months at most. And then after that, you're going to be you're making money at that point, because you're using a tool that literally everybody else is spending money on except you, because you got the lifetime deal. But again, I don't want to waste too much more of your time, but 4 days, 12 hours, and 12 minutes. I'll put a link down in the description, bloggerevolution.com/writer. That's bloggerevolution.com/writer. I suggest take advantage of this sooner rather than later, because if you don't, you will regret it, because it is an outstanding tool to go ahead and check out. So if you want to learn exactly how to use NeuronWriter, throwing in articles and you looking up keywords and everything, I want you to go check out the video right here where I go through the entire process of how NeuronWriter works to rank articles.